Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome to a best of 7 on new maps on the new patch here between two fantastic players. In the top right, the player who recently won the GSL Super Tournament, it is Solar. And in the bottom left, America's finest, it is of course Astrea playing for Team Alpha X over here. Solar for on-site gaming, as we have ourselves a best of 7 at hands here. On the first map is going to be Ancient Cistern. Not quite sure what a cistern is, but it sounds like a lantern, just different. It's extremely green, beautiful little map. Look at that, a tasty Lopi here. A very high-paced creature, can run away at high speed. I think it's one of these at least. It could also be that only the green one, the green version of the tasty Lopi is capable of running away at high speeds, but I'm just not entirely sure. Let's have a look at this game here. Of course, for the people that are not aware, recently a patch has been introduced, or well, a proposed balance patch has been introduced, and a lot of games have been played on this proposed balance patch. We have a couple of new maps that most likely will make it onto the ladder, of which Ancient Cistern is definitely one of them. So yeah, curious to see how this is going to pan out. In the PvZ matchup, a couple of changes that might impact the outcome of this series are, well, observer speed maybe in some world, and the fact that the observer is slightly larger, battery is a little bit weaker, creep spread takes slightly longer, Hydra is faster, so there's a couple of changes here that definitely are going to matter. Carrier's a little bit weaker, Corruptor perhaps somewhat stronger against it. So yeah, we're just gonna have to wait and see what's actually gonna go down here in this matchup. Let's take a look at this map actually while we're here. A lot of these new maps have relatively open third bases and a big area in between the natural and the third, but I do believe that this map is a little bit less so. This is not super open. I think there's like maybe 3-4 gateway wall, and you can easily defend that. If I were a Protoss player, which I am, I think I'd prefer taking the linear base here over taking the triangle base. Triangle base looks like a decent fourth base, but doesn't look all that brilliant as a third in my opinion. Solar has similar plans here. Of course, for Zerg, one of the most important things is the proximity to the base. For Protoss, that matters a little bit less. It matters more how easy it is to defend it against outside threats, how easy it is to wall with extra gateways. So here we have a Twilight Council and a lot of gas mining still going on. So it might be a DT drop. It could also... No, it's not. Okay, he pulls out of gas right at the time when the robo starts. So this is going to be either a 3 or a 4 gate glaive build, most likely. Can't really imagine anything else here. I don't really... Yeah, I just can't. I think this is going to be 3 or 4 gate glaive. Here we go. It's going to be a 4 gate glaive because we still need one more gateway in the wall over here. So 4 gate is the only real solution. Is that a probe that is moving out on the map? What are we doing over here? What is this Stalker doing? Hello, Astrea? What is this? Where are you going, buddy? Was he just looking for an Overlord here? I mean, it's possible. Sometimes you get an Overlord, I guess it's good, but it's also pretty risky. Now, this probe's gonna get taken out here by these links, unless Solar is asleep at the wheel. Solar doesn't sleep, and definitely doesn't sleep at the wheel. He's a man that's always awake. Look at this little waterfall coming out of this building. Looks kind of sick, actually. Pretty map. Very pretty tile set, once again. This is definitely one of my favorite maps of in the new map pool. I think it plays out as a relatively difficult initial 4 bases compared to our current map pool, but in the new map pool these 4 bases are actually relatively easy because all the other maps are so insane. Very good map. I actually like this one, the way that it looks. I mean, it seems like there's some real neutral bases as well at the very end. Makes it difficult to get in a truly still position, but that's nice. Look at how fast it is. Freaking Artosilope. These guys, man, they have high speed. Very, very high speed. There's 5 adepts out already. We have a prism coming in, so it's going to be 9 adepts at 4:30. That's a very decent warp in timing, may I say, by the way. That is indeed a very decent warp in timing. There is a Stalker with this as well. I like the build order that Astrea is going for. This could potentially deal some damage. It could also potentially fall completely flat on its face. Here come the resonating glaives. Is this... You don't finish this. You don't... Whoa. No, you do, apparently. Well... You do, and then you pay the price, because that's just going to cost him a lot of adepts. These roaches dealing so much damage. Queen's moving over towards the third base. I think 6 adepts go down. Now, there are a couple of adepts in the main base, which now shade towards the natural. Prism moving into position. Queen's completely out of position, by the way. Important to note here, 5 drones get taken out. Too many units are being produced for Solar. This round of units should have not been units. They should have been drones, and I think that is well, a price you'll have to pay right now. Your eco is going to suck a little bit more. You should be, well, at least 5-6 more drones here. It's not going to be the case. Immortals are on the way already. Is that the first one that we have right now? Yeah. First Immortal, 3 more Adepts coming in. As we have 3 Adepts on this side, just shading back for now. 2 Adepts in the main, trying to deal some damage. Are going to be abandoned by the prison. No, they're not. Well, oh, no, they are actually. 2 new Adepts will end up dropping. 2-3 drones go down. It's not the end of the world. I'm so surprised that Solar continuously is sprinkling in these roaches and more units. Like, you either go for an all-in or you build drones. But he's been building drones and then building Ravagers and then building roaches and links and then drones again. I don't feel like this all-in actually has potential of hitting very hard. There's simply not enough units. I don't think so. Just 12 Adepts. There's going to be 2 Immortals. It gets spotted as well. If the prison is at a home, which it probably should be heading home right now, I don't really see a way for Solar to beat this, given the fact that there's a battery here already. Maybe if you attack the natural, it's a possibility. Take out this production as well at the same time. Here come a couple of biles, but it's not enough biles to take out that super battery. Here we go, more biles trying to connect, but battery still very active, and it's just dealing a lot of, well, it's healing a lot of these dudes. These Adepts are so healthy right now. They've been eating their veggies and fruit for sure. This was a failure of an attack out of Solar. Absolute dud of an attack. GG gets called. Astrea wins game number 1 here on Ancient Cistern after, honestly, an early game that shouldn't have been as good if Solar didn't make every wrong call possible in the book. As Astrea picks off game number 1. Second map here is going to be on Altitude, which is the largest of the new maps, with a rush distance of 38 seconds. In comparison, Cosmic Sapphire, which is in the current map pool, had a rush distance of 37 seconds. So 1 second longer than Cosmic Sapphire, which already had a very long rush distance. We see a Nexus First coming out of Astrea here, and with a Nexus First into 2-gate, it seems to me like we're going into some type of double Adept opening pressure. This is a really uncommon build, by the way. I just like to note that. This is absolutely not meta. This is typical Astrea. Astrea is a player that does not really follow the rules. He plays what he believes is good. Now, the reason why this is so uncommon is, imagine you're making a new build, right? Very often at the start with a new build, you're going to be losing a lot while you're kind of perfecting the build order. So you really need to believe in whatever your theory is. You know, if you really believe that Nexus First is good, you need to be the one that kind of shows that to yourself. You need to look at the numbers, you need to, you know, check your benchmark and be like, okay, I think I could actually make this work. And then you need to put it to the test. And then you need to play it and you need to get good results with it. However, if you're copying someone else's build, all you need to do is see whether it works for them. And with certain build orders, it has been proven again and again that they work. So it is a very easy solution. And very often the correct thing to do is to just follow the meta. And it takes something different to create build orders that are actually good by themselves. And Astrea has a lot of these builds that are good by themselves. And sometimes I'm not sure whether they're good by themselves because they're off meta and thus they confuse the opponent, or because they have actual inherent value within the build order itself. It's an interesting question, but he has been a believer of the Nexus First for quite some time. He has shown this type of opener a lot, honestly. And here we're gonna go. Double Adepts moving in right now. Was there a scout before this? Yes, there was a scout before this. Here come the 2 Adept Shades. Are not going to finish up. Metabolic Boost will finish soon. This is 8 links, and that is plenty to deal with 2 Adepts. Nexus is going to be taken here, and the first Oracle is going to be a little bit delayed. So one of the downsides of Nexus First is that your tech is just going to be delayed. That is an absolute fact, and nothing you can really do about that. Overlord moves in right now. We have... I mean, this third base is gonna go up, most likely. No! What? That was a mistake. Oh wait, he cancelled the Stalker? No. The Stalker was in the main denying scouting. I don't really like how this went. I much would have preferred having the Stalker in the wall, the 2 Adepts over here. This was very expensive. Losing 1 Adept, gonna maybe even end up losing a second one. No, it's not gonna end up losing a second one, but the third base is just so delayed right here. We have, what, 5 pylons out already? This is going to be a 5 pylon Nexus, and it's one of those things that you don't really see in this matchup usually. Usually you see a Nexus after the 3rd pylon, on a very bad day, maybe after the 4th pylon, but 5 pylons into a Nexus, that just means that everything else is also going to be delayed. Look at this gas timing here. This was what? This was 4:20 for gases. The normal timing is going to be 4 minutes, 4:02, 4:03. And with a Nexus first, I'd expect it even a little bit earlier because you just simply have more money. Now, a lot of that money is being invested into these adepts and into those pylons. So, yeah, a bit of a surprising start here. I'm going to be honest with you all. This is not how Astrea had imagined it. Or at least I can't imagine this is how Astrea had imagined it. And he's going to be pretty unlucky here as well with the positioning of the second Stargate and that fleet beacon, because the Overlord is very close by, can just pop in over for a scout. Marge would have preferred seeing both of these over here near the other Stargate. I'm kind of confused by all of this. Now, this is one of the only maps I don't... Oracle, need to move away. One of the only maps where there's an actual dead space behind the bases, which is safe against queens. It's still not a great dead space, but at least you can kind of chill here, temporarily regain some shields. Astrea almost flies into that queen fire. Hello, need to move to the bottom left here, I think. This is not in range? No, it is. Especially during a recall, of course. Can't stack units during a recall. They all just kind of split off, take their own little position. Spire's on the way already, despite nothing being scouted. Overseer is being produced as the carriers are starting. This is going to be late carriers. I am not feeling this build order for Astrea at all right now. I'm not feeling his position in this game either. The fort base is delayed for Solar because he went 6 gas pre-fort base. Going to have a crap ton of gas by the time his Spire finishes up. He's going to just have so many resources to pump out Corruptors or even Mutalisks. We've seen players go for Mutas before, and it's still going to be a possibility, although I really would prefer just seeing straight up Corruptors. I think something along the lines of just a Corruptor Roach Queen March could definitely deal some real damage and potentially even kill Astrea here. Get Overlord speed, poop some creep, you know, go for a classic queen walk basically. I think that would be good. Now, carriers are about to finish. First carrier has finished already. Follow-up is going to be maybe Blink? No, 2 more carriers and then I guess Charge it has to be. Sometimes you see like weird Blink builds as a follow-up, but I'm not a huge fan of them personally. 11 Mutalisks, okay. Interesting. So, it's actually really interesting that we see Mutas here. Fort base is going to be delayed. If there's a fast fort base, Mutalisk damage is less important. It's like, it's less game ending, basically. Because if you have 74, 75 workers, you lose 12 workers. It's annoying, but it's not the end of the world. If you're on 66 workers, you lose 12 workers. That is the end of the world. And these Mutas want to go across the map unspotted. There's plenty of queens around. With those queens, you can stop, at least temporarily, these carriers. And then with Corruptors, you can truly push them back. These Mutas, if they kill 10, 12 workers here, I think the game just ends, quite frankly. Like, it's completely over in my mind. A couple of drones are being targeted down. We see 4 drones go down. I think targeting drones here should have the priority. Instant recall in towards the main base. There is a carrier out right now, but the Mutas are going to town already on these probes. That means that 7, 8 probes will fall. Why are they targeting down that fleet beacon? That was a misclick probably. Prism could die here, it's not going to get targeted. Instead, Mutas will continue flying on. It's 87 workers against 60. And yes, Zerg is supposed to have a worker lead in this matchup usually, but not by this much. This looks really bad for Astrea. 7 more Overlords on the way, +1 on the flyer attacks as well. We still have the Mutas as a distraction basically here for Astrea. You know, you need to respect the Mutalisks. They can come back at any time. We see cannons going down right now. This is not where you want to be investing your money if you're in this bad a spot. Follow-up is going to be Disruptors as well as Phoenixes with any Impulse Crystals. +1 is 90% done. Phoenixes. It's an interesting call, not a call I necessarily agree with, I think. But then again, what do I agree with at this point? What would be a correct call? He's in such a bad spot that almost everything feels like the wrong call here. Don't forget that carriers and the interceptors are basically a little bit weaker against this type of play. Before, if you were to A-move into Interceptor Phoenix, all your units would probably be attacking the Interceptors. Now they will be attacking the Phoenixes and the carriers. They have higher attack priority for all these air units. Interceptors is not as important. So here we go. We see the chase being set in. Super Battery gets activated. Prism gets taken out. It's not really the end of the world. Any Impulse Crystals finishes up. We have 4 Phoenixes out. I mean, there's just so many Corruptors here. I think this is just going to be game, to be honest. I think this is just going to be game. I think he can just jump on top of these carriers right now. Instead, he's still aiming for the Phoenixes. Not entirely sure about that one. Do we have some Banelings here? No, it's just pure Ling, Roach. Fort base is going to be complete toast over here. There's no upgrades on these Lings, but I don't think that's quite going to matter. Here go the carriers. Number 1 gets blasted. Archons are going to be helping out a little bit, and these Adepts are trying their absolute best, but this fort base is just dead. As long as these Archons and carriers don't come to help, yeah, I don't think much is going to happen. Here we go. Good target fire. Well, basically everything. Carriers go down. Corruptors stay alive. Infestation Pit on the way, because the next step should be Broodlords here if this doesn't just straight up kill his opponent. There's so much supply right now in air units that can't really do all that much. I guess he's just going to peel on a couple of buildings here. There's just no anti-air. There's absolutely nothing that Astrea has that can do anything about the army that Solar has. The moment Corruptors are beating you, you know you're in a bad spot, because, well, Corruptors can't really attack ground. This ground force is going to move across the map, and it's just way too small, right? Like, there's money for days here for Solar. There's 23 larvae available. GG gets called. Series is tied up, and we'll be heading into game number 3. And in game number 3, we see that Astrea actually kind of moved away from that early Nexus that we saw in game number 2, and instead opts for a more standard approach here to the game. We see a straight Warp Gate once more. So similar stuff to game number 1. I mean, it did go well. Why not? I do like the thought of that. In general, I think I'm a pretty decent fan of repeating builds that work well against certain players. Man, look at the energy in that mineral. That's crazy. Still can't believe that probes hold minerals with their mouth. That's kind of mad as well. Oh, it's a fake. That's a beautiful fake here, by the way. I'm a fan of this one. Yeah. Stalker should be produced behind this. I think this is a quick second gateway too. What are we doing here? What in the world is this, Astrea? What do you have up your sleeve? Well, you have a probe cut up our sleeve, apparently. Yeah, there we go. First Adept trying to deal some damage, is not quite getting it done. Second Adept moves in, and Babylon is one of the smaller maps. Urubu over here just witnessing the potential Zergling massacre that could be happening here. Oracle on the way. It's gonna be late, and it's gonna be a surprise. It's a late surprise. Those are the best surprises always. What did they just clear? Was that a drone? Okay. Clear 2 drones. Didn't take any real damage. Good damage. Really, really nice. Good start here for Astrea, and he's going to be sending out this Oracle. Now, I'm not so sure what Solar is doing. Maybe Solar didn't see the fast Warp Gate, but that fast Warp Gate usually indicates glaive builds. And the fact that Solar hasn't responded to anything glaive-like yet, no fast Roach Warren, no nothing, it's weird. It really is kind of weird. You just had no response there whatsoever. So the mind game didn't work. It's purely based because Solar didn't do much. Third base gets spotted. Evo Chamber gets thrown down. So it's going to be quick +1 rush here out of Solar. Wants to be going into I guess a heavy Link style maybe. Could be a real possibility. We have seen that a lot, of course. And Astrea is one of the players that used to love to play those Blink Stalkers. Early game Blink Stalkers into Storm. That was his jam. It really was his jam. We're going to see if it remains his jam over here. So he has a couple of adepts moving towards the top side of the map. Here we go with a big revelation. Pop, pop, pop. Bang, bang, you're dead. This creep tumor gets blasted. 2 tumors down. Couple more to go, though. Ooh, split off here with the adepts. Split shots, though. Nah, not worth it, I think. I think if this is a full mineral line and you force all of them away and kill 2 workers, maybe it's okay, but this is only 6 workers, 7 workers mining, you killed 2. You also didn't do anything with the oracles at the same time. This really wasn't it. I'm not a huge fan of how that went. Really not a huge fan of how that went. Now we have this Ling attack and could potentially get a couple of workers here. There's no battery available whatsoever. These adepts might actually be in a bit of trouble. Reinforcing probes coming out. That's 2 more probes that might die. 1 gets shot. 2 probes die here, and Lings are trying to push through. I think that might be a mistake. Definitely was. As more and more Lings are coming out. +1 is on the way. Don't forget that +1 for Protoss is now a little bit faster in this new patch. curious to see how that's going to play out. We indeed have that quick blink that I was talking about. Astrea used to be a big fan of that. This is something I am not a big fan of, though. Being out on the map without Oracle support. Well, not even out on the map, in between your natural and your third. Without Oracle support, there's no battery at the third base still. Astrea, once again, early game just completely falling apart over here. That was a good move at that probe. Holy crap, that looks really cool. Almost gets pushed through, but that was a tight defense. More Stalkers being warped in, but that pretty much green lights Solar over here in just building more and more links. He sees these Stalkers, he's like, okay, I can just pure link this. I don't need any units, any roaches at all. Roaches only are necessary against Zealots, against Archons, but against pure Stalker, you don't really need roaches. It's like they're bad, actually. You want to get Queen Ling, you want to be active with your links, cancel fort bases, kill Stalkers out on the map, maybe go for a cheeky run by. You have double expansions coming out of Solar here, fourth base and a fifth base at the same time. And that means that, honestly, it means that Astrea is in a bit of trouble. Astrea is trying to take his own fort. This wasn't necessarily a very fast fourth base. It started at 6:30. If you're playing a 4-gas Stalker build, this is actually kind of late. Initially, Hero started with 6-minute third base, or fourth bases. When he started playing this, maybe even a little bit earlier. I think I've seen like 5-minute, 5:20 fourth base. It's really, really quick. Now this is even gonna get cancelled here, so yeah, this is chaos. This is awful for Astrea. This really is. Look how much cash he has in the bank. He just can't do anything with it. This has not been a good start. Once more, Astrea just falling apart in these opening stages here. If it isn't going his way, it really isn't going his way. It's going absolutely terrible here. Supply block as well, 101 out of 101. And America's finest right now is not looking so hot. Solar showcasing why he is the GSL Super Tournament champion. Here come a couple of Oracles, though. With some damage, always going to be important. 65 drones versus, or 65 probes against 75. Yeah. Double stasis works? Okay. Do I dig it? No, not really, but it is what it is, I guess. 2 more workers get taken out. Can it be 3? No, it's going to remain at 2. We have another little dead space here. I wasn't aware of this one. That looks cool as well. Interesting, interesting. No real dead space behind this. Can you go here? Maybe you can, actually. It's so difficult to see sometimes on these maps. Ooh, a couple of sharks swimming around. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. 2 oracles get out alive. A couple of waterfalls. Pretty map, by the way. Oh, once again. Ooh, is the Panda Master just standing up here. What's he doing? He's banging his sticks on the floor. The rhythmic panda. Oh, look at that. There's a couple of stick masters here as well. This guy has a stick in his ear. Look at that. Idiot. Well, talk about sticks in your ear. I think Astrea is going to have a stick in a place where the sun don't shine very soon, because this is a powerful push coming out of Solar. There's no real tanking power for Astrea. He has a Colossus, which deals well with links, but not with Banelings or with Roaches, and Banelings probably should have rolled in first for some tanking, but don't even think it's quite going to matter. 25 workers have gone down already, and that brings the total worker count down to 52. This was an attack before +2. This was the worst timed attack possible. Just like 10 seconds before +2. And it was a terribly synchronized attack. The Lynx running in first, and then the Banelings. You always want the Banelings first, because when they tank and then they explode, they don't really lose anything. They still have their damage output. Now a lot of Lynx were lost for free. So this was a very poorly executed attack. But due to Solar's insanely good early game, I don't even quite think it's going to matter here. It still dealt a lot of damage. Solar is only on 76 workers, so there is some incentive for him to kind of keep going in my mind. Either that, or he needs to drone up real fast, get into a hive, start thinking about things like adrenal glands and vipers. I think he's doing a little bit of that, and then a little bit of more pushing. And I like the thought of more pushing here as well. There's still no real tanking power in this army. There are a couple of disruptors, which are good against roaches. There's some colossi, which are nice against lynx, but the banelings don't really have an answer yet. There's nothing that can clear banes quickly, and there's nothing that can really tank against banelings either, which means that, well, if there's nothing to tank against banelings, usually it's the probes that end up doing the tanking, and that's the one thing you don't want. Here comes a baneling run by from that left side. Astrea not quick enough with the respawn, going to lose 11 workers immediately. At the same time, we have another attack coming in, but it's not even necessary anymore. That's the problem here, is that these type of run-bys are just enough. 80 workers against 61. Hive is on the way. The moment Vipers pop out, this game is going to be extremely difficult for Astrea to pull back in. He does not have the gas income. He does not have the gas availability right now to start attacking into Templar, which is the one thing you definitely are going to need. Almost throws a rock on his own disruptor. which would have been far from ideal. Lynx moving in right now. Try to get a surround. Banelings could get some connections maybe with probes. No, instead go for batteried stalkers. That definitely was a mistake. This was a poor run by Out of Solar. Bad execution here. At the same time, the Banelings tried to go for a run by at the fort. Also did not quite get it. I like this rotation though. This is a really good rotation. Still a bunch of Banelings here. Could maybe now go towards the middle, or where are they gonna go? We have a big attack on the left. These probes need to be pulled 100%. Absolutely need to be pulled. It's just not going to be for the probes though. It's a full-on engagement into Astrea's army. Nexus will end up dying here. Astrea is dead. He's just absolutely getting blasted here from multiple sides. Once again, a poor flank with pure Ling against Colossus is not quite what you want. There's still 2 oracles alive as well. They have provided a lot of value in stasis wards and just the pulsar beam damage as well, but it's simply not enough. It's simply not enough. Adrenal glands on the way. And I think Vipers are next up on the menu. Yeah, here we go. First Viper on the way already. 5th base out. 6th should start soon. Yep. Solar just... This is the thing. There are players that would play a build like this and never transition, right? I'm thinking of someone like E-Laser who loves these big Ravager Ling Bane pushes or Roach Ling Bane pushes. But he kind of sticks with it. Solar is already thinking of the next step every single time. It's like, okay, Adrenal Glands is up next. I want my +3 to go as well. So even if by some miracle Astrea eventually manages to stabilize against the Roach Ling Bane, there's going to be a next step. There's going to be Vipers. You're going to get the better upgrades for everything. You continue expanding as well. And honestly, with this type of setup, it wouldn't completely surprise me. Yeah, we have more gases on the way. Second Evo. I think this could go into an Ultra Cavern. Yep, there we go. Beautiful stuff. Actually makes a lot of sense. The extra gases were a dead giveaway, and then the second Evo as well. I mean, you're close to maxing out. You want the next step. And this army does not deal well with Ultras. And don't forget that the Ultras have gotten a pretty significant buff in the patch. Being capable of hitting a bit more, the maneuverability increased as well. No Adrenal Glands yet on these Lings, but it won't matter. They're still having a great fight against these lots. Where are my Banes, my Baney boys at? The Baney boys are over here. Not doing very much right now. Maybe they just could go in into this base, actually. Would like that. Here we go. No. Here we don't go. Yes. Alright. Very good disruptor pools in here. Very nice. Lots of these units stuck in stasis wards. Only 6 probes go down. It does feel like Astrea's getting closer and closer to that stabilizing moment that I was talking about earlier, but even if he's just thinking of stabilizing, how can he move across the map? He can't. How can he get into an army comp that can actually win fights decisively? And I think the answer is also, he can't. He just can't win fights right now, and that is an issue. He can stay alive and he can take okay defensive fights, but he needs to win a fight very, very decisively if he wants to win this game. He needs to start thinking about a 5th base at some point in the near future as well. I mean, some of these patches are definitely going to be mining out, especially in the natural, I guess. Not so much in the 3rd and 4th yet. That's the one perk you have when you're hardly mining. But you have a lot of patches still alive. Yeah, this is going to be a good fight, I think, for Solar. And he's just absolutely burning in here. He's going to get to the probes, and that's something you can't replace. There's just no money for that. There's no time for it. 192 supply for Solar against the 116 of Astrea. The Ultra. Look at this bad boy. Look how tiny he looks. A cute little Ultra. Absolute cutie patootie over here. Wanting to get in on the action. He might look small, but he is a very, very powerful. Small, but powerful. Storm on the way. Double Immortals as well being pushed out. Back up to 60 workers right now. And the nice thing that for Solar here is that he isn't on 95 workers. He doesn't have a tiny army. His army is still very sizable. It's always bigger than his opponents. And it's always in better in composition. He has better upgrades. He just looks darn good in this game. He's been looking darn good in this series, honestly. Going to be an interesting fight here as once again 14 probes get taken out. Half the army not even really participating as more roaches and bases towards the left side. Astrea realizes that time is really up right now. Taps out as Solar takes the lead in this series 2-1. Game number 4 over here on Dragon Skills. Yes, we have a... ooh, look at that. That's a no-scout if I've ever seen one. That is indeed a no-scout. Say assimilator first here into a later gateway. And that's beautiful. I like that a lot. We're gonna see a cybernetic spore go down into some scouting now. So these are really late scout. In case of a 12 pool, you're dead. In case of a 14 pool, you're probably dead. In case of a 16 pool 6-ling, you're not gonna be in a great spot either. So yeah, it's a build that carries some risk, but if we take a look at what Solar is doing, it's just a hatch first, and then it's completely fine. We're here on Dragon Skills, which is a map. Look at this. Look at that. Look at the openness of this map. Look at the ability for Ling run bys, for Ling counterattacks, for just anything. Just look at the space that is here once again. It is absolutely insane. The Zerg Collective sends its regards when it comes to these maps. Holy crap. It's insane how good these maps are. We're going to get a very fast Stargate here. Now, I'd like to see a switch up out of Astrea into maybe something like a double Stargate Phoenix. I wouldn't mind it, personally. I think it would be a good call to have. So far, his Stargate builds haven't really worked out yet. And double Stargate Phoenix is one of these things that I don't want to say always works, but it gets you into a really stable position majority of the time. It's good against a lot of these all-ins that Zerg players like to do, like your Queen Roach garbage. Like building roaches against Phoenixes really sucks. And I think it just tends to put you in a good position, especially against Solar. I don't find Solar too strong against double Stargate Phoenix because he's kind of a, I don't know, instinctual player in a way. He's like, he's very Korean in his playstyle, in that he likes having units, he likes doing stuff, you know. And against Phoenixes, the best course of action for Zerg is often to do nothing, and that can really get on the nerves of a player that has the speed that Solar has and has the, you know, the skill and the finesse with his unit movement. Usually it frustrates them that they're not allowed to do anything, and they often just build like a crap ton of units in the early stages of the game anyway, and it puts them behind because, well, you can't defend against Phoenixes with Lings. As long as you have any amount of oracles, your third base is going to be safe. So yeah, I like those types of builds against players like Solar. Like, yeah, people like Solar, Su, even against someone like Rogue, up to a certain degree. I always thought it was really good as well. Like these people that kind of want to make the game a little bit weird, and then you basically stabilize it with that double Stargate Phoenix. I think it's such a good tool to have in your toolkit. Once again, a little bit of a probe cut here coming out of Astrea. He's not been completely on point so far this series, and it frustrates me for him. Second Oracle has popped out, so now would be the time for that second Stargate if we get to see it. Once again, a probe cut here. He's really not... He's not on point. He's not on point with that probe production. He's missed multiple seconds already, which there's absolutely no need for in the early game of Protoss, by the way. So you could say, well, you know, it's very tight, but it really isn't. If you're playing double Oracle into a third Nexus, you always have some money left over to queue up a probe, basically. Almost always are gonna have that. It's just a fact of life. Oh, this is a good build as well. I really like this. If this is what I think it is, then I'm a fan. If this is something different, then I'm gonna have to judge that by itself. But I believe this is going to be like a little charge build with a very fast Templar Archives, quick Prism as well. It's one of my favorite builds right now, actually. You can get 6 gates, actually. You can get 6 gates before gases and have a really powerful timing with this. It's a build that I'm a huge fan of. Huge fan of. These 4 gate into 4 gas is also fine, but into 6 gate into 4 gate into 6 gas is fine, but 6 gate into 6 gas, that is some high tier stuff, all right? That really is some high tier stuff. I don't think that's gonna be it. I think he's gonna take gases before the extra gates. Oh yeah. I'm okay with it though. I can live with this. You know, I'm not a bad boy. I can live with this. Once again, lots of gas here. Wait, what does this go into actually? I was gonna say Spire play because that 4th base is after the 6 gases, but it also looks a lot like it's going to be a bit of a Roach max here. It's going to be a Queen Roach March actually, and this is one of the things that Astrea's build is really weak against. He just does not... Oh, lose an Oracle as well. That's extremely painful. He does not actually have the tools to deal with Roaches here. He does not have the tools at all. Oi. This could be dangerous now. This could really be dangerous. We have 2 gates on the way extra. I think they started after the assimilators. Should be... What you need right now is Immortals. You're gonna need Immortals. You're gonna need some sentries out as well. Solar is going all out aggression here. Balls to the wall. Is gonna get these Overlords to poop on the other side of the map. He's probably gonna even morph one or two of them into Dropper Lord. We have a Robobay on the way. This is obviously not going to be in time for the push. Immortals are going to be the answer. Sentries are going to be the answer. This push is not going to be the answer. Hell, this push is not going to achieve anything except for perhaps a scout. You see the Overlord speed here, and if you're Astrea, you do not get a fort base. This is the one thing you're not allowed to be doing. No fort bases. You need cannons. You need a defense right now, and he's not getting any of that. He's gonna start marching back home. We need static defense over here, Astrea, and we're not getting it at all. That's an issue. There really is an issue. Here comes the Dropper Lord. Yeah, I mean, this is even without the queens here. This could be kind of dangerous here. This could be kind of dangerous. Oracle can be activated. Good. Pick up control here out of Astrea. There's no battery available to help in this defense initially. And actually, Astrea does a pretty darn decent job here. Defense. Oh my god, this control on these Archons was mental here. There's like 3 Archons with less than 20 shields each, and this actually got pushed back. Disruptor is going to be in time now as well. It wasn't in time for the first wave. Solar, poorly synchronized attack. Did not have the queens there. Did not have any Ravagers there either. It's gonna go again. But his initial push failed. His initial push definitely failed. It's 66 workers against 74. The funny thing here is that Astrea almost believed it wasn't happening anymore. It's like, well, this push is so weak. Is this all you have? Is this it? And it wasn't it, because now here we go with creep around. Micro is going to be a lot easier for Solar. Didn't look like he microed that easily though. Actually lost a bunch of roaches against that one disruptor shot. There's just not that many units for Astrea. Does not have the production to really get enough out, I think. He still has 8 gateways. He just has a lot of cash in the bank. Does not have no tanking. He has a lot of important units. He has like 3-4 Archons, two Immortals, and a Disruptor as well, but there's nothing to tank for it. And I think Solar just walks over here and wins the game. That is going to be it. That is actually going to be it. Solar wins this game and is going to put himself on match point after this. I mean, there's nothing here that can still defend. Oracles cannot help as there's still a queen out. Ravagers are being taken out, but so are a lot of workers. Fort base did get taken out on the side of Solar, though. Maybe it's still possible. More roaches moving in right now. How far away is the super battery? It's way too far away. Disruptor shot needs to connect. It's gonna connect with 1 Ravager and a Zealot. Not exactly what you would want in life. Maybe it's still possible here. Maybe I was wrong. There is 4 bases out for Astrea right now. He could technically give up this base and be okay with it. He's up in upgrade. He's gonna get this Disruptor. He's gonna need a super battery. He needs a super battery and he needs it quick. So we have a rotation going in towards that far left side. What is this roaches? What is this guy doing? Hello? Get out of here, son. We're fighting. Like, no, I'm safe. Oh no, you're not safe at all. You're in the riskiest spot in the world. Oh no. This is what happens with cowards. Cowards get taken out in the Zerg army. Died in the Overlord. Here we go. Good split out of Solar. Only loses a single roach. It could have been big, but now it wasn't. Where's the prism? Where's the prism? Not in position. That's where it is. Battery cannons all taken out. Workers start falling, and it does seem like in the end, Solar once again too strong with that pure roach push. Spire on the way behind this. Fort base coming out as well. So there is a follow-up plan. It is not a brilliant follow-up plan. This push in general wasn't that brilliant because it was poorly synchronized. It had no attack damage upgrade, but it was good enough to kill this. Dragon Scales goes to Solar, putting himself on match point in this series. That brings us to game number 7 here. Potentially our final game of the series as Solar is on match point on Grassvan. Whenever I look at this map, I always think of like an FFA map or like a 2-on-2 map. And it doesn't really look like one, but the way that the mini-map is laid out, it kind of reminds me of some 2-on-2 map for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why that is, but life is life. Sometimes life gives you 2-on-2 maps, and then you have to make a lemonade of it. I think that's what they say. Hatchery first coming out of Solar once more. Let's take a look at these bases actually. Look how open everything is. Look at this open area. Bang, bang. These are like 9 force fields, 7.5 gateways in order to wall this properly. It's absolutely insane. Aggressive plays are technically impossible for Protoss on this map, and there are plenty for Zerg. You're gonna get insane spread outs here. It's just crazy. Look at this fort base positioning. I think this is the fourth base, but it is possible that this bottom one is the fourth base. Like, I think there is a world in which that is the fourth. It's just a difficult world to imagine for me. Because you still always are dealing with this massive open area that kind of leads in towards your natural and your third. Maybe you take this as a forward base? It's just really tricky to even consider which bases as a Protoss you want to take. As a Zerg, I guess you just go towards the bottom side. I like the thought of that, but then you have to deal with these ramps potentially. That could also be difficult to deal with. So yeah, I actually don't know. I do have a Nexus first here. Gateway, Nexus first coming out of Astrea. As we have our Cybernetics Sword coming down as well. I'm liking this a lot. I just kind of want to see if this works. It felt like last time the build was good. It just got stuck in the early game with a very late third base. Lots of pylons before that third as well. Not entirely ideal. First probe still patrolling. Very important if you play Nexus first, of course, is that you have some vision on what your opponent's links are doing. If they go straight across the map, you might be forced into walling this area temporarily. Adept, both chrono boosted, as well as a warp gate on the way. I think that should be cancelled for a quicker Stargate. I wouldn't mind that at all. Standard timing for a Stargate is around 2:16. Here we're seeing at 2:45. Solid 30 seconds later. 30-second delay on the first Oracle. Now, defensively, that doesn't matter a lot, but aggressively, that just means there's going to be a new wave of Queens out, right? Queens take 36 seconds to produce, so yeah, dealing any damage whatsoever with this is going to be way harder. Could have been a bit faster if you delay your warp gate, but then your warp gate is extremely delayed, so I'm not sure what's best. Oh, wow. Solar actually going for a roach all in off of this. Says, hey, I know what you're doing. I've seen you do this before. Let's see what you have for my roaches. And these roaches are... No, not gonna get scouted here. That got very close, though. This Ling is going pretty ham. There's no battery. Once again, no work. There's a massive supply block. Actually, a significant supply block. No extra units coming out either. That first Oracle being so late means that the scouting is going to be delayed as well. And that there's just simply less units. Next, isn't it a beautiful timing? I'll have to give that to Astrea over here. No extra units pre-warp gate, though. 39 workers against 21. If he survives, he wins. If he dies, he's dead, and he's out of the series. It's a lot of units. They're not going to get spotted anytime soon. Adepts, no, that's not Adepts. That's the Oracle making its way across the map, but it's semi-hidden over here. Oh no, extra gas is coming out as well. Astrea in a world of trouble, not scouting at all what's going on. Now sees these roaches popping in, needs to rewall immediately behind this as these Adepts are in there. This is over. This is absolutely over. Gateways are gonna get taken out. One warping will finish, but that is going to be it. Double Oracles popping out. Cancel on the third base. Four Adepts and an Oracle. That's it. Where's the other Oracle? Is it coming back home? Yes, it is. There's a lot of energy on it. That might actually be somewhat useful. Astrea, though, without production at all. If he had the ability to build 2 more Adepts at this point, maybe, I would say, maybe. If he could full wall this, then once again, maybe. But right now, I think the answer is no. As there's no units to defend against the Lynx, there's nothing that can stop these Roaches from taking out this building Void Ray. And as more and more Lynx flood in, I think this series has officially ended. Double chrono on the gates is not going to be good enough. 11 workers against 21. 12 more Lynx in production and 2 Roaches remain as well. GG gets called. Solar wins game number 5. Wins the series 4-1 in very dominating fashion, showing why he is the GSL Super Tournament champion. That's going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. Hope you did enjoy the series. If you did, don't forget the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thank you, and bye-bye.